On my table here is the AD1200 Pro, and today I will talk about this new flash system that I just purchased, just to really utilize it outdoors. I'm Richard and welcome to ZP Productions, and this is the AD1200 Pro by Godox itself. Now 1200 watt, this makes it probably the most powerful or one of the most powerful flashes that you can bring outdoors today, because this is a battery powered system. Let me show you. As you can see here, this is the battery pack of the AD1200 Pro. And this is a 187 watt-hour battery pack. It has tons and tons of power. And I can tell you that, you see, this is still full now. And just a note, I just used this flash pack for a photo shoot just now at 1/8 of a power. I shot around 150 shots and it is still full. This is how much power this pack have. And this 1200 watt flash is supposed to last around 500 shots with this flash pack, which makes it one of the most powerful and also the most long-lasting 1200 watt flash you can get in the market today that can be used outdoors. So this AD1200 Pro is a pack and head system, and this is what I mean. This is the head, it has a cable, and it plugs into a pack, which is this whole item here. This is quite standard for almost any 1200 watt flash. I think only Pro Photo produces a 1000 watt monoblock, which means a flash that is just one piece with all the equipment inside. Every other maker, when they make a 1000 watt or 4-digit watt system, usually it's a pack and head system. And the reason is because you can actually mount all the electronics on the pack, and then you can use it as like something of a counterweight, put it in the ground or something, while the head can be relatively light like this. This head probably don't weigh anything more than the AD300, if I'm not wrong. And as such, you can easily mount it anywhere, mount a modifier on it without actually breaking your light stand in the process. Now, that being said, a pack and head system has disadvantages. It has an extra cord which is ultra thick and heavy, and you actually do lose power with the cord. And you can extend the cord itself, but at a loss of, I think, 1/3 the power for don't know how many meters. That is quite extended for a pack and head system. I mean, Pro Photo has the 250 watt version, and also a few 600 or 1000 watt version likes with pack and head systems too. So that being said, the Godox AD1200 watt is a 1200 watt system, supposed to be twice the power of AD600. I'll talk about the power later, but I can tell you that it is a really, really powerful flash. And as I said, I wanted to use this flash outdoor, and after today's test, I don't think there is a problem. But let's talk about what comes with it. So there is a carrying case for the pack itself. You can put a pack inside so you can hang on somewhere. This pack is really heavy. And then they also have a drag bag. I don't yet have here because it's quite a big box. Let me show you a photo here. This is the drag case. So you can put everything in, and this case is provided free. Now, for the price of about 2,000 Sing dollars, this is damn worth it. 2,000 Sing dollars give you the whole pack and head system with batteries, with a luggage bag. I don't know what else can you ask more. I mean, this is definitely half the price of Elinchrom and comes with everything that the Elinchrom have. And, it does do proper wireless, TTL, HSS, and whatever within the pack itself. Fantastic deal. The pack, as I say, is a battery power pack. It lasts us 500 shots according to specifications. I shot 140 shots at 1/8 of the power and doesn't even seem to drain the battery at all. So I think 500 shots with a battery pack is really good. I mean, this is a 1200 watt system. I don't think there's many 1200 watt that can shoot 500 shots with a battery itself. Now, this is a Godox system, so you will see a very familiar Godox interface. Let me lift it up here. Now, this screen is just the bigger version you see on the AD600. So exactly same thing. All the buttons, all the dials, exactly the same thing. So if you know how to navigate the AD600, AD400, AD300, you'll be right at home, because they use the exact same symbol, same dial, same screen, interface, everything. It is really, really easy to use as long as you are a Godox user. Now, this is a system that uses the head, so let me plug it in. Plugging in is quite easy, and you can hear it. Now, notice that once I plug it in, the fan sound comes on. This is one of the things, I do not know whether you can off the fan. I can't seem to figure out, but the fan sound is really, really loud. I mean, you can hear here, you can really hear, it's quite audible. Now, this flash does have a very strong LED light. I mean, this is probably one of the strongest LED light you can get. This is a LED light that goes up to 40 watts itself. 40 watt for the LED light. I mean, it outputs definitely this looks like 200 watt of power. But it's a 40 watt LED light, and then it is extremely bright. You can on and off the light easily with the controller here or with your remote and stuff. So that's a good thing. You know, this LED light, this modeling light is really, really strong. Now the flash itself is 1200 watt, and when you actually fire it, which I'm not going to do it here, when you do fire it, you can actually feel the heat coming out of the bulb. It is a really hot light. For that short little moment where the flash do fire, you can actually feel the heat if you are close enough. Just to tell you, it is probably very hot when it's firing the flash at full power, 1200 watts itself. That being said, I used this flash for a photo shoot just now, and I shot it through a bounce umbrella with a diffuser. Umbrella is about 1.5 meter wide, as you can see in this shot here. And I can tell you that I shot the entire shoot at f11 or f8, and at f11 it was about 1/8 of power here, 1/8, and then at f8 it was 1/16, so I think it's quite linear in terms of power itself. Now, f11 is something that is really hard to achieve even with normal studio lights, considering that the modifier isn't very small. It is a silver umbrella, correct, but it is still an umbrella with a one layer of diffusion, and it's not like next to the subject itself. It's about 1.5 meters away or 2 meters away from the subject. So that being said, the flash does provide tons of power. Now, if you follow Sunnyside 16 rule, f16 is probably the power of the sun with 100 of a shutter, 1/100 of a shutter at ISO 100. Now, if you take that in mind, this is f11 at 400 shutter, because I use the A1, the Sony A1, which can sing at 1/400 shutter, and that is f11. So I can do Sunnyside 16 with this flash at 1/4 of a power. 1/8 of a power gives me, f11, 1/4 of a power will give me f16, and half power on this flash will give me more than f16. I'll be one stop over the sun, and this is how powerful the flash is. It is 2 stops over the power of the sun if I was shooting at ISO 100, and because the Alpha 1 can sing at 1/400, I can go 2 stops over the sun using the camera, and this flash itself is 2 stops stronger than the sun itself for a momentarily burst. So I can easily overpower the sun up to 3 to 4 stops. This is how powerful a 1200 watt flash is, and I'm talking about using it through a modifier that is 1.5 meter big with a diffuser. Very impressive amount of power, and this will definitely meet my needs outdoor as a flash to overpower the sun easily with an extremely large modifier. I think I can put a modifier twice the size, maybe a 2 meter modifier, 1.8 meter modifier, and this guy will probably still have juice to overpower the sun by at least a stop, even at 1/100 shutter. And if I use a 1/200 shutter, I can overpower the sun by about 2 stops with this system here. Very impressive amount of power itself. One of the minor problems of the AD1200, in addition to the fan noise just now we talked about, is that the flash is not really quick, especially at full power. At full power, my measured number is 1/187. But even though the flash writes 1/220, I measured a few times, it's always 1/180 plus, which means that the flash on general is about 20% slower than what's written on the screen here based on my meter itself. In fact, I went to minimum power and also measure it. It writes here 1/11,000 or 1/10,000, but it measures to about 1/8,700 plus. So it's about 10 to 20% slower. Now, does it matter to you really? Depends on what you do. If you are intending to do studio shots with very fast movement, like jumping shots, you minimum need 1/500. If you go below 1/500 for the flash speed, you will have some motion blur. And if you really want those really tech sharp looking shots, you will need like probably 1/1000 with this flash itself, which will be about 1/4 of a power. At 1/4 of a power, it will be beyond 1/1000 in terms of flash speed. Now, why is this important? Is because, if you use the AD600 at full power, it will be like 1/300, or rather than 1/187 here. But at half power, it will be faster than the half power here, but slower than the quarter power here. So that's something to note. So even though this flash has a lot more power than the AD600, but the speed of the flash itself is probably only about half stop faster than the AD600. So if you are doing high speed shoot, the difference between this and the AD600 reduces a little bit, considering the speed that you need. Now, if you do not know what I'm talking about so far, just note that for a flash photography, or should I say for flash photography in general, the speed of the light is more important than your shutter speed, and it is what that determines whether you get a shot that is frozen in moment or a shot with motion blur. the speed of the flash matters a lot more. You can say that if you are shooting in natural light, the shutter speed is the important one. When you are using flash photography, it's the speed of the flash that matters. And it is the same, If you need 1/500 shutter to freeze the motion in normal light itself, then you need 1/500 for the flash itself to freeze the motion. And this flash isn't very quick when you're at full power, but just drop it to half power, a quarter power. It is more than fast enough to really freeze most motion that you need. So that's something to note. And that's about it for today. I have to test this flash a little bit more. But after a little bit more usage, I will probably update you guys on how I feel about the flash. But that being said, fantastic piece of gear. I have used it for a shoot now. And if you are looking for a 1200 watt light, this is probably the light that you want to buy. That only costs like 2,000 Sing dollars or 1,509 USD. I mean, look at brown color, look at Ealing Chrome. They cost 2 to 3 times the price for the same amount of power. So that's something to note. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.